I have a strange addiction. And no, it's not life jackets, it's El Lobo, the death wolf from Puss in Boots 2 Last Wish. It has been 5 months since I have seen that film. And you know what? It was pretty good. Every time I've watched it, I think I've seen it like 4 or 5 times now. I've loved it. The main lesson from the story isn't just for kids, you know, it holds well for adults too. I actually learned a valuable lesson from it, like carpe diem, seize the day, live in the moment, and enjoy the life that you have. Yeah, I know, we do a little bit of existential crises here, but honestly, the biggest highlight for me with regards to Puss in Boots 2 has always been Death Wolf, El Lobo, the edgy anthropomorphic wolf with sickles and red eyes. Why am I so obsessed with him? I don't get it, but at the same time I do. Because if you remember in years past, one of my favorite anthropomorphic animal characters in media was Amicus from the visual novel Adastra. When I read through that novel, I fell in love with him immediately. He was one of my favorite characters in literal furry media, and many other movies with anthropomorphic animal characters didn't hold a torch to him. He has the body type, the physique, the personality, even though he's a himbo, but we love himbos though. And all in all, I just really loved that character. But fast forward to early January this year, after I had seen Puss in Boots 2, I immediately fell in love with this new character. Death Wolf was it. He dethroned Amicus for me. And quite literally, like, he has been on my mind every so often. I'll log on to Twitter one day, and because of how my likes in the algorithm works and the artists that I follow, I'll just get recommended so much more Death Wolf art. Some of the art I'll like and retweet on main. Some of it I'll have to switch to my AD account for, but all in all, it is just a constant treat. I mentioned how whenever there's a new anthropomorphic animal character in media, that furries gravitate towards that, and that's all you see on Twitter if you're in the furry sphere of it for like the next week or two. For me, that hasn't ended. I still kept in mind the feed that I wanted to curate for myself, so I just started liking all this art that I saw. So now my feed is less drama. I don't really even know what the big topic of the week is. You know, who spun the furry wheel of drama? What did it land on this time? I don't know. I don't care. So I guess in part of why I'm doing this video is to somewhat break the addiction, or maybe feed it further. I haven't decided which one we're doing yet. All in all, I thought I'd share my own experiences and feelings towards this with you all, because why not? Like, I literally follow an account called Daily Dose of Death Wolf. This is how deep we've gone. I feel like the more I expose myself to this, the more the magic remains. Because, you know, that's what I thought at first, this weird fascination with Death Wolf. It was just the magic of seeing the film for the first time. I don't know if it's necessarily a neurodivergent thing, but like I obsess over a specific character that I see in a movie, one that I really like, and then like a month later, you know, it wears off. And I thought, you know what, by February, we'll be over it. I'll find another big furry character that I enjoy, and life will go on. Well, fast forward to now, 5 months later, and it's still going stronger than ever. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't just watch the movie because of Death Wolf. I mean, regardless of Death Wolf, it's still a good movie. Though, like, you would still need the character in that movie in order for it to work the way it does. That's when you know you've created an amazing antagonist in a film. But I rewatched the movie because it's good animation and it's good story. This is the best depiction of Puss we've seen so far. Remember the first movie? Remember how he looked before then? Yeah, this is like, they nailed it. And that's what I started to realize with more of these rewatches, that they really improved that little Shrek universe and made it so much better, so much more lively with all these characters, both in design and in their personalities. But on top of that, from all these rewatches, I haven't just noticed things with the story and movie and animation itself. I've also noticed little extra tidbits about Death Wolf that I didn't realize before, like the licking of the lips before he starts whistling. I'm like, oh, that is immense furry bait, even if they didn't intend for it. I know so many mob furries that love that one specific scene. And also that little whistle he makes. Oh my god. Fun fact, I also taught myself how to whistle that song that Death sings throughout the movie. I'm not going to do it now because I consider whistling the same thing as singing, and you will never ever hear me sing. That is a hurdle of anxiety that I have not jumped over yet. The best way I can sort of explain my interest in Death Wolf is like, you know, Quite and Springtrap? I still don't fully understand what's going on with that, but like that's sort of what's going on with me and Death Wolf, you know? It's also kind of funny to see how the furry fandom has perceived Death Wolf. Like I saw something similar when DreamWorks did The Bad Guys and Mr. Wolf became a thing. Furries fell in love with him immediately. But with regards to the furry split, you all know I'm absolutely Team Death Wolf, which is kind of weird and morbid to think about, you know, because he is the literal embodiment of death. He's just death. And I have this interest in death. But I think the funniest thing about this interest in Death Wolf is that I've realized he's kind of the perfect furry husbando. Like say, you know, in a perfect world where you have Death Wolf and then you're your Fursona or something. He would be like the perfect husbando or like relationship material, because you got to think about it. First off, he's edgy. He's got like a dark side. You know, some people like a dark-sided person. I personally am very edgy edgy. I like a little bit of edginess, you know, maybe some dark humor here and there. But I was an edgy kid back in high school. I'm still edgy now. If you were to ask me what my favorite hedgehog was from the Sonic franchise, it would be Shadow. No joke. But as you all know, I look at things in a very nonsensical manner. If I need to dissect and understand something, I will take my own interpretation of it that very loosely applies to what it actually means. Example, with regards to Deathwolf, you all know he's the embodiment of death, sort of the Grim Reaper in this case. Throughout the movie, he's constantly chasing Puss in Boots, trying to take him to the afterlife, even if he is already alive and hasn't lost his last life. He's just kind of trying to speed run it to an extent. He's still dedicated to getting Puss in Boots' life. You know, is it sort of a dark-sided, edgy intent? Yes, but the way I see it is Deathwolf is a very hard-working, passionate guy. You see how I'm interpreting things here? Some other aspects that I find in Deathwolf, you know, he uses sickles to fight. He knows how to slice. He's got the swordsmanship, not too far from using a knife. He probably knows how to cook. Even for a personality, we talked about him being passionate, but also he's kind of got a little bit of a dorky nature, you know, the way he explains how he's the literal embodiment of death. Like, not metaphorically or metaphysically, I'm just straight up death. So from a personality standpoint, he's very passionate, emotive, he's hardworking, and he knows how to cook. What could you not love about the guy? Also, apparently he has abs. I don't know if that's canon to the movie, but furries have been drawing him with a lot of abs. Like, he is chiseled in furry art. Some furry art is obviously embellished, but to be fair, furries do try to stay true to the movies sometimes in their art pieces. I still haven't seen him outside of the cloak that he wears, so who knows, maybe he does have abs, I don't know. So maybe you understand where I'm coming from with Deathwolf. Hopefully you do. Hopefully I've like sold it well enough to like justify this weird obsession. I haven't justified anything. I just sound like a crazy person, but you know what? If you like it and you're entertained by it, I'm doing my job. Even non-furries really like Deathwolf. I can't tell you the amount of tweets and videos and TikToks that I've seen where people are like, I'm not even a furry, but I'm down bad for Deathwolf. It's crazy. Deathwolf has managed to capture the hearts of many, even non-furries. But regardless of what you think about Deathwolf or Puss in Boots 2: The Last Wish as is, you gotta admit that it's another movie that's gonna drive people to becoming furries. Like, you know how some furries were introduced to the whole fandom aspect by watching a movie about anthropomorphic animal characters? So like Zootopia, some people started with that, or The Lion King, or Robin Hood, and that was their movie that they gravitated towards because of a specific character, or the animation, or even just the concept of anthropomorphic animal characters. I personally never had that. I was a furry long before I had any sort of infatuation or gravitation towards a specific animal character in media. And so after 5 years of being in the fandom, I kinda have that. Maybe not in the same breath of like being introduced to the fandom and having this movie sort of lead my way up to discovering it and becoming a part of it, but it's just nice to have like that furry movie that I can enjoy. Like, some people love Zootopia. They could watch it over and over and over again. I can't really do that. I can't do that with The Lion King. I can't do that with Robin Hood. I can't do that with The Bad Guys. But I've been able to do that with Puss in Boots 2: The Last Wish, and specifically with Deathwolf. Granted, it hasn't been to an unhealthy amount. I just kind of throw it on when I'm at the gym. Like, if I'm kind of bored of listening to music or don't really have a podcast to listen to, I'll just throw on Puss in Boots 2: Last Wish and watch that while doing cardio. It's a fun little thing. I recommend doing that if you work out. It really does make time fly. And also, I guess it helps with me working out because, you know, I don't get sick of the movie and I can just keep watching it and doing more cardio. So I guess in some sense, this is a healthy obsession if you think about it. But even after watching the movie as many times as I have, it's still one of my favorite movies that sort of has this furry vibe to it with anthropomorphic animal characters. And hey, it's just a plus that Deathwolf is the way he is. We love Deathwolf. Also, I just gotta say, my favorite furry art piece of Deathwolf has got to go to Taylor Raccoon's depiction of him saying, "I am gay," straight up, where he's judging you, kind of like the boy kisser cat meme. In fact, I've seen another version of it with a caption of him saying, "You like kissing men, don't you?" Which I guess is a bit more fitting because yes, I do like kissing men. This is probably like the most relatable art piece I've seen of the character, at least to my, you know, enjoyment of him. But hey, you know what? Regardless of what you think of Deathwolf, I know this is kind of morbid to think about, but one day when I am moving on to the afterlife, if he's the last thing you see on your way over to the next life, I can't complain at all. But either way, that's about gonna do it for me. I've put everything out there and I've probably not made a good case for myself. So if you enjoyed that, let me know in the comments. Also, if you're open for commissions and would like to potentially draw a Deathwolf in a life jacket, let me know. I'd love to see that. Just Deathwolf in a big floaty life jacket, because you know, you gotta stay safe, even at sea, when you're helping souls to the afterlife who are lost at sea and all that. So yeah, I want to do more of these free form videos where I just start recording at like 4 in the morning and I end at 5. So So again, if you like that, let me know in the comments. I don't know, a lot of commenting. I like feedback and all. Also, I guess as a big announcement, I did get a brand new model for my Twitch streams. Feel free to check out the links to my socials down below. I know I don't usually promote this, but if you want to get updates for anything that I'm doing in the future, feel free to follow me on Twitter. I know some of you want to be a part of these future videos where I go over people's Fursonas or furry memes or whatever else I'm thinking of doing, and I usually do those through Twitter. Like I tweet something out and people leave replies and then I go over it. So if you want to be a part of those videos, feel free to follow me on Twitter. If you don't have a Twitter, you should probably keep it that way, to be honest. You're doing yourself a favor. This may or may not be the last video that I do on this character. Deathwolf is my new favorite furry anthropomorphic character. Even if he's not a furry character, he's an anthropomorphic animal character. You get the idea. You already know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, that's about gonna do it for me. Have a wonderful day, and as always, stay life jacket, guys. Take care.